Hello everyone, and welcome to Svavelwinter, the role-playing game. Sulfur Winter, the winter of sulfur, in some role-playing in Erik Granström's Trakoria, the Empire of. This will be a segmented, shall we say, start. I don't know if we call this episode prologue, prologue A, prologue B, what have you. Because
Issue 0.
Exactly. Because we have a lot of players, and this will be the prologue for 2 of them, and in a separate recording there will be the prologue for another 6, and then there will be 4 by 4 typically as we move forward. But this is to cover a certain interesting part of the, shall we say, initial proceedings. Yes, so that's a start of things. I'm absolutely petrified. Anybody else petrified?
Not at all.
Not at all.
What, be worried?
No, it's okay. Or maybe a little bit. So, with us tonight, as of this recording, we have Rook. Who is playing?
I will be playing Malakai, an agent provocateur of Vemsica, the Pirate Queen.
Indeed. And Jess.
I am playing. I apologize to the audience if I butcher this. I'm Canadian. I am playing Praanz da Kaelve, and I am an agent of da Grummi. Did I say that right?
Yeah. Praanz da Kaelve, of agent of Goba da Grummi. Also known as the Trakorian Secret Service. That's right, we have a spy mission happening here. Dun, dun, dun. So, yes, it is the year 8 after the inauguration of the Chronolob. And the lands are prosperous and doing well. At least that is what everybody says. It seems like it. Or it would have seemed like it, but there are strange things going on in the capital, if you will. Strange things that your characters are being drawn into, slowly but surely. Specifically, the 2 of you find yourselves in the city of Siola on Paratorna. This city is... well, it wouldn't have been terribly remarkable if it wasn't for the fact that the Trakorian Empire has stationed the shipbuilding and war machine building industries in this city. That is really what this place is about for the most part. There are several workshops, several wharves, lots of repair installations for everyone who needs their ships repaired if they are part of the Trakorian Navy. And the Army and the Navy, as well as the Secret Service, keeps this place under close scrutiny in case of sabotage. You never know. The Trakorian Empire has enemies everywhere. Could it be Ransardi raiders from the east? Could it be Trinsmiran freedom fighters? Or I should say insurgents, because obviously they're not freedom fighters, right? We don't say that in Trakoria, right? There are patrols on these streets, and the security is intense. However, Malakai, as an employee, shall we say, of the Pirate Queen Vemsica, you have a lot of connections around here. And you were able to put in here your ship for repairs and maintenance, regular stuff, the stuff that you always have to do every once in a while, to take care of it properly with not too many questions asked, because of course the Empire does make use of the Pirate Queen's services on many an occasion. It's entirely possible that you have been patrolling the waters on the eastern side of Paratorna to ward off pirates from Ransard, for example. Meanwhile, Praanz, you were in Tresilva as late as yesterday afternoon when this task was thrown upon you almost, well, I'm not going to say completely out of the blue, but at least it was a bit of an inconvenience. You had to, shall we say, abruptly leave the competitions, the sword fighting competitions in the Toronda to go and serve your queen and country. Well, your empress and country, if you will. Or emperor.
Worse.
He doesn't count because he's drunk all the time.
Ruler? Ruler.
Ruler, yes, let's say. The throne.
My boss.
Yes, with some secret instructions. And which I've already provided to you, of course.
Yes.
And so Praanz was off riding faster than the wind from Tresilva, of course, across the bay to Famkvalvi, where the headquarters for the Secret Service is, and then just absolutely legging it north through Paratorna to Siola. Where you will, in fact, find... well, you have the funding and the letters, clay tablets, in fact, this being Trakoria, to basically requisition a ship. The fastest possible ship that you can get, that it can also go across an ocean, so you can't do a coastal sailor, that wouldn't work. To get yourself to your destination with all possible haste and speed. And that is how you will run into Malakai. You are most likely looking for captains in the local taverns. And Malakai would very definitely be there after a long day of work of overhauling the ship. And for some reason, you pick him rather than some other people around there. And I would like you to tell us what it is about Malakai. Or maybe Malakai can tell us. You can tell us together. This is a collaborative
I feel
exercise.
like Malakai and I have probably worked together before.
Mm-hmm.
At some point.
That's very possible. That's very possible indeed.
We work for two big players who tend to play on the same side, so...
Yep.
Or at least for the same outcomes.
Indeed.
So I feel like
yes.
we've probably worked together before.
That seems reasonable to me. And as such, of course, you will recognize him the moment that you step in through the door of the tavern, and there he is.
Malakai is rather easy to find. He normally has a very large raven perched on one of his shoulders.
Okay. Again, Praanz is also easily recognizable. Full suit. I imagine the boot heels clicking kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Very, I imagine she's got like a stern, almost angry librarian kind of look.
Yes, that would
About
make
her.
sense.
Upon seeing, and just so I know I'm saying, it's Praanz, correct?
Yes.
Upon seeing Praanz striding through what, for all intents and purposes, is probably either a dive bar or a house of ill repute,
Definitely does not look like she belongs there.
Malakai would call out to his occasional compatriot, "You decide to come slumming tonight?"
That I did. I have some work for you if you're interested.
Been dealing with pirate raids in the south. Anything to get me out of those fucking waters.
Just needs to double check where she's going again. Why can't I find it?
I can send you in the Zoom chat.
Yeah, send me in the please. Thank you.
There we go.
Okay. I need a ride to Marjura. I apologize for butchering things.
That's where that race has been going for the sulfur trade, yeah.
Yeah, about that.
You would see, while in deep concentration, a bit more of a smile than you would normally get out of Malakai crosses his face, clearly exposing the filed teeth in his mouth. I've got some things I could see through there as well. I think I may be able to help you with this.
Excellent.
When are you planning on sailing?
Oh, you know how it goes, as soon as possible.
Well, there's as soon as possible. We wait for the tides to be in our favor. There as soon as possible. I have to refund a couple lads some money they just spent, and we pulled the fuck out of dock right now.
Oh no, we can wait till morning.
Brilliant. I will see you at the gangplank for the Reaver's Daughter in the morning.
See you in the morning. And she turns heel and walks out to whatever
More reputable
establishment she's staying at.
Exactly.
Upon being made aware of this financial windfall, Malakai probably would buy a round for the house.
They will get very popular very quickly. Yes, as a colonel in the Secret Service, Praanz can certainly have decent lodgings. He's not going to live like, say, Duke Jalsop da Kaelve, the richest man in the realm, but he's going to live comfortably. Stay comfortably.
Better hotel than your average adventurer.
Yes, one would argue
Yeah.
so. So that is absolutely the case. Yes, you are basically purring your crew to attention and getting them to do things that they had not at all been prepared to do, because you were here for a refit, and half of them are drunk right now. The other half are working on the refit, like getting new sailcloth, stowing away some freshwater barrels, repairing anything that has been broken on the ship at any point in time, including potential leaks in the hull, etc., etc.
If any of the lads were a bit too deep in their cups and uncooperative as to us having the earlier departure time, I would send the Wolfkin Kakiba and a couple of Marines around to the various and sundry bars my lads and lasses tend to frequent.
Indeed. Since you have made a bit of a splash about this, about a quick departure and also, windfall, apparently, have you told people in this establishment about going to Marjura specifically? Or just windfall?
Just windfall.
People might have overheard us speaking, but that would be about it.
It's going to be an evening of revelry for some still, even though you are starting to gather your crew, people are starting to come back, and so on and so forth. And there will in fact be a group of three, if you will, who are kind of looking around, and they come in through the doors of the establishment. And let's see if I have. Yes, there we go. Is this the? Yes, it is the right token. It's a woman and two women, in fact, and a fella, and they are sort of led by this, I'm not going to call her a lady. She tries to look like a lady, and fails miserably, to be honest. It's like a lower class person's idea of a lady. Like, it's not the latest fashioned hat. She doesn't even wear a wig. She's trying to have a fancy hat, and I'm sure that some people in some lower class areas will think it's a fancy hat. Kind of spindly. The woman in her retinue, if you will, that goes just like 2 steps behind her, is moving much more gracefully and much more with a good deal more of self-confidence. Also, you recognize those tattoos. This is early spring now, so maybe mid-spring. It's much too cold for a typical Paratornian to be wearing that little clothes as she is, but she doesn't seem to be bothered too much by the cold. Those tattoos seem very much cargo mission to you, which is kind of kin, really. You have a lot of cargo missions in your crew. And hardly a step behind the cargo mission woman walks a giant of a man almost. He is a good 6'3"-ish, but the broadness of his shoulders makes him, he has trouble getting in without walking sideways through a door. All muscle. And he's walking, so they're kind of walking in a goose step formation with the pretend lady first, and then the cargo mission, and then this big fella. And the pretend lady, she's the one who takes the hat off and says, rumor has it, this is like an hour after Praanz was there, so it's been a little while. Rumor has it, Captain, that you are outfitting a ship to go somewhere. Do you need some extra hands by any chance? We can pull some ropes and do things. Yes?
Malakai would look past the woman speaking directly at the cargo mission. Where do you try to go?
Oh, just about anywhere, she says, and smiles. We are, well, ready to serve, she says. She is moving much more like a dancer than a sailor.
Through my interaction with and patronage of the various seedy establishments in just about any port city, do I recognize her as being part of a particular group or from a particular house or anything like that? Is this woman known to me?
Not really, no. You can tell, I mean, the cargo mission is definitely cargo mission to your eyes, but you wouldn't be able to, I don't think you know the culture well enough to judge if she has tattoos indicating a particular tribe or clan, or location where she was born. She is astoundingly beautiful, though. There's no doubt about that. She could be nobility from those areas.
My eye would then drift over to the big guy. What's your story?
Oh, I just, do what I can to help, he says.
You pick things up and put them down again.
Aye, that I can do. And pull ropes. I've been on a ship before. It's how we usually get somewhere.
It normally is.
Aye, I mean when we go from one place to another, like.
I'm not a stupid man. We have a dancer, we have a bodyguard, we have someone trying to put on the affect of finery. What's your actual story and where are you actually trying to get to?
How about a water roll? The first roll of the campaign? Yay. For Malakai here. And I'll bounce that off of Roba's, because she will, in fact, roll for hers. And I will also, in fact, use her... So, I'm going to spend one of her fate dice. You guys have each 3 fate dice to begin with. So, for those who've never played this game before, which is almost everyone in North America who's never played this game before, to use your skills in this game, you have to spend fate dice. You can gain fate dice by fulfilling your Bane, which is your character's weakness, or your destiny, which is basically their the character's good side, if you will. And so I'm gonna use as a GM, I have a pool, and I put that in the journal on Foundry. It's called the Chalice. So I have 6 fate dice for this session. And I'm going to spend one right now. There are ways for me to gain some as well by giving you challenges, and if you accept, I gain some fate dice. So I'm going to roll 3 dice altogether for my water roll, and 4s are successes. So I have 1 success, and you have nil. Well, you see, we are, in fact, what you might call traveling buskers. We do artistry in every port we come to, but of course we have to go from one place to another. You see, I'm their manager. You can see Dija Damagi here. She's an amazing dancer, and Gistaki is one of the strongest men, a wrestler of renown. He kind of looks a bit awkward over that. And he will... they will both perform amazing feats. As I said, I'm their manager. But we have to get to our next location, and really, we go where the winds blow us. Yes, this city is not really one for a lot of artistry, I'm afraid, and we just haven't fared too well here. To your eyes, she seems absolutely convincing. It's adventurers, basically. They go from town to town and do whatever. We are ready to work for our keep on your ship, sir.
Fine. I'll allow you on board my vessel.
Thanks.
Until we reach the next port. Understand this. Give me reason. I'll bleed you and throw you overboard.
Hi, Captain. She knuckles her head a bit like sailors tend to do when they say that they are obeying, and looks towards her 2 artists, and sort of packs the 3 of them away. Deidre is giving you the eye, like the sensual come hither eye, as they leave. Of course, she is also doing that to just about everyone in this establishment, so maybe it's not just you. So yeah, they will quickly file out of the room. They will be at the ship when needed in the morning, and just be there as extra hands. But that's not the only person this evening who will seek to come with your ship. We've talked about this before the session. Before your evening is over, I'm thinking you've done a lot of work with your crew, everything is on hand, you'll be able to get your 6 hours of sleep in, you're basically ready to turn in there, Malakai. When a stranger, you're basically going up the stairs towards your room in the tavern, in the inn, when a stranger with a long dark red cloak, hood swept very much over his face. He is as big as that wrestler was in his body. Walks as a swordsman, though. In that sense, he has similar type of walk as Praanz da Kaelve has, these people are not people who are used to a sword. They're like the sword is an extension of them. At his belt, there's a big, huge bag aside from his sword. And as you're on your way up, he's kind of... Excuse me, Captain.
Approach.
I understand you're going... Your ship is sailing tomorrow.
That would be correct.
Where are you going?
I completely forgot the name of the place.
I can do that in the Zoom chat.
We sail towards Marjura.
Fate is with me, it seems. What would you require for me to come with you? I can keep order if needed.
I'll be honest with you. In a moment of unusual generosity, I allowed 3 people also to travel as far as Marjura on my ship. Just something seems off. You help me keep an eye on them, I'll make sure you get there.
Very well. I will do that.
We sail with first light. Seek the Reaver's daughter on the docks.
The Reaver's daughter. Very well. You get a glimpse of his face in the candlelight as he turns, and it looks like one side of the face is just melted.
I think Game of Thrones vibes, dude.
Well, the game of something. Praanz, your time before sailing is not without its complications either.
Of course not.
Of course not. You've had your breakfast, you're ready to go down to the Reaver's daughter in first light, like the sun hasn't even gotten over the horizon and yet. The sky is brightening, it's purple by now, stars are being chased off by the light. When a very, very exhausted messenger arrives. Colonel, we need you. Orders, Colonel, and just kind of bows. Orders, and hands you over a clay tablet with orders.
And they say?
They say, go to the park in Siola, speak to the nun, bring her passengers and herself, by order of Duke Yosef da Kamesti.
They're to go with me to Marjura?
Apparently.
Okay. I look at the messenger. Go to the Reaver's daughter. Tell Captain Malakai I'm on my way. I have extra passengers on order.
Yes, Colonel. Messenger bows, runs to do exactly that. And of course, Malakai, you're standing there. I mean, a trip to Marjura changes things a lot. You will... I'm not sure you'll be able... Well, your crew has worked through the night, I'm going to say. Because you need many more provisions than you usually take on a ship. This is a 6-week journey, and just the fresh water you need for this is like twice the amount you usually put on. So it's going to be I'm not going to say full holds. You obviously can have a lot of cargo on a ship like this. But just the provisions, food and water for this ship will take twice as much space as they usually do. It's not going to be a problem for you. It just means, okay, we need to load onto this ship a lot more stuff than we thought that we had to, and we need to do it now. So your crew has worked through the night. They're tired. When that messenger arrives and says that the colonel will be there, but a little bit later than expected. The happy surprise here is, of course, that Roba and the cargo mission and the wrestler are in fact working hard. They do obey every command without a second's hesitation. They do exactly everything they've been told. And while they are not sailors, they have been on a ship before, so...
Not total
Upon receiving notice that the colonel will be arriving late, Malakai would bellow out to everyone, "You get a slight reprieve! We should have an extra hour to load!"
They seem pleased with this. And, yeah, the work progresses. Meanwhile, of course, the colonel gets to the park in question. Siola isn't known for a place of pleasure and leisure. In Tresilva, there are large parks and many other cities as well. Siola is such a heavily fortified garrison, but nobles here need their pleasures too every once in a while. So there will in fact be a park. Strangely enough, this particular park has been walled off everywhere, with whatever makeshift stuff the local garrison could find to wall it off with. And various soldiers patrolling are standing there. You can see they've put wads of cotton in their ears. And you can hear some noises coming from inside the park. Weird, disjointed voices. This is strange. As you get close there, someone will actually see you and come up running up to you. Colonel! They're kind of removing the wads. An absolutely petrified look towards the park. Colonel, we were told you will relieve us of these. There's a nun in there. Yeah, they... And the soldier kind of whispers to you, They are rejoicers. They were in Tresilva. You must get them away from us.
Calm yourself, soldier.
Now, for an audience who have never heard of this expression before, there is a cult in Trakoria, dedicated to the god Ramantra, if you will. And it's more like slowly spreading insanity. If you think about them, if you see them, if you talk to them, this thing infects, it spreads. People lose their minds and join the cult. So just thinking about these guys is something that petrifies anyone in Trakoria.
This should be fun.
As you are talking to this soldier, there is someone climbing up behind the wall and kind of looking over the makeshift wall they've created. And she's dressed in monk habits, if you will, but not in the typical 5 strands of hair that a rejoicer would have, according to their notorious reputation.
Okay.
Oh, Colonel, I was told that you would come, says the nun.
Yes, I've been sent to retrieve you.
Yes, indeed. Yes. For some reason, I have been entrusted with these lost souls. I was told that they are to be taken as far away from the Empire as possible. I am simply, shall we say, a liaison?
Excellent. Do we have a way to quiet them so as not to make my travel companions unweary?
Yes, that would be advisable. Would it be possible to construct a hut, perhaps, on deck? We can house them in there. We will soundproof the hut as much as possible, I suppose.
I can speak with the captain.
Very well. I will provide them meals and take care of their needs during the journey.
Excellent.
Where are we going?
The Daughters Reaver the docks. I'm taking them to Marjura's, where I was headed.
Oh, excellent, excellent. I wanted to go north. Very good. Yes. Yes. My name is Mogerlan. I am a nun of, an order in the Colorite deserts of Soluna. I simply watch. But I will speak to them, and I will, if we can have a carriage bring them over there, we can, I'm sure that your subordinates can arrange so that people cannot see them inside and so on and so forth.
Of course.
Yes.
And I snap my fingers to one of the soldiers.
Yep, the soldier will stand at attention and then bring out one of those wads from the ears.
Get me a wagon to take us to the docks, and have a messenger sent to Malakai. Tell him we need a hut built on board with soundproofing.
Very well. Yeah, the
He's going
soldiers
to hate
are.
me. I'm going to have to pay him double.
The soldiers are absolutely panicked in their faces, but also very relieved at the idea that these people will leave.
Is there a way we can muzzle them until then somehow?
I'm afraid not. But they are in the center of the park, so the sounds of their speech is less likely to get out here.
Lovely.
Your orders will be followed to the letter. These soldiers are panicked, and there will be a messenger coming telling Malakai to build a hut on the deck. A soundproofed hut.
You want me to do what now? Build a hut on the deck of a bloody ship.
That was the order from the colonel, sir.
Do you see any Trakorian military markings on my jacket, boy?
No, sir. You're the captain, though, sir, aren't you, sir?
I am. It was a request, not an order.
Oh, right, sir. You might want to follow it, though, sir, and he looks really... Rejoicers.
Malakai will turn to go onto the ship to try to find some additional wood and leather and a place that's not going to be in the way. But as he's walking up the gangplank, he will look at Kakiba and hook his thumb towards the young messenger to escort him off the docks.
And so
into the water.
Into the... What? Splash! Yep, the young messenger...
Praanz won't give a shit.
Probably not. The young messenger will end up in the drink terribly wet. As if you could end up in the drink in any other form. It's a dry dock. No.
It doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't. Anyway, this means further delays to the departure, but orders are orders, and building a soundproofed small hut up there, you can do it. You're gonna have to use the carpenter. He's going to have to work really fast, but many hands make for quicker work, and many hands you have. I'm going to say that the hut will be done by some around noonish, maybe.
I'm assuming I'll be there by then?
Yes.
How much funding do I have? Because I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to pay Malakai double at this point.
I'm sure you can sit down and write a clay tablet explaining the situation to Goba, so that he may have a letter of request, if you will. I don't think you are able to just...
Request from the Duke myself, no.
Yeah, right. You don't have it in your pocket, if you will. It's going to be like a bank note, bank draft, if you will, but the Trakorian equivalent of that.
So I will send...
We're paying the cannibal pirate in an IOU.
Yep.
I will be sending the letter off to Gumi to send to the Duke before I leave town.
Yep.
So that I am not eaten on the way to Marjura.
Good idea. Good idea indeed.
You've asked for ridiculous accommodations. I need more money.
Yep, that makes sense.
Much more polite than that, of course.
Much more polite than that, yes.
Writing a letter to myself.
Yeah. Getting these interesting individuals aboard, I think if people know about who is inside the box, if you will, they will probably prefer to be, say, in the tavern getting stupid drunk or anywhere not the ship. Because even looking at them is said to be dangerous.
I will have them hooded.
Yes, hooded, and this nun has graciously accepted to lead them up there. It's a bit weird to you that she hasn't been infected by the madness yet. Maybe
I don't trust her for shit.
Madness is exaggerated. Maybe it's not. Not that you want to roll the dice on that, because nobody of sound mind in Trakoria would.
No, I'm fine.
There was no conversation about bringing a nun on my ship.
And I hold up the orders from the Duke as like a, just don't even. Not my fault. Just got them this morning. I've already sent for double your payment.
That's fine. There are other things. Maybe we can help each other. You do realize they start affecting the cast, the crew of my ship. I'm slitting in their throats and throwing them overboard.
That's fine.
All right. As long as we're clear on this, we need to make the effort. They make it too hard for us. Meh.
We don't
We'll
know
have
if
a
this
nice
is
stew that night.
we don't know if this is superstition or not, but harming any of those cultists, it is said, leads to being infected by the madness much faster.
We'll take the chance.
I know the superstition says we can't harm them. We'll do no such thing. We'll lower one of the whaling boats. We'll put them under, and we'll very gently push them out in the opposite direction. Not hurting a single hair on their head.
That could work. Possibly.
Make sure there's a small hole drilled in the bottom of said boat.
That would be tricky. I do have the rules for the infection, as it were, right here. So let's see now. If you
There's
listen
really no
to
way
them,
to gag them?
if you listen to them, you have to roll wind. Difficulty is typically 2. If you do something worse than listen to them, the difficulty increases. And yes, the being infected by this will is incurable and will end the character. So just putting them in that hut and just not hearing them, thinking about them, that should be safe. That should be safe.
Just simply instruct your crew to stay the hell away from the hut on pain of death.
Pretty much. Oh, they will not need the pain of death thing to...
There would be a very intense conversation between Malakai, the first mate, and the boatswain.
Indeed. Yeah, no, they...
It doesn't even need to be pain of death, it just needs to be pain of being locked in a room alone with me.
That could work. Just a mention here. You did notice one interesting feature about the nun as you talked to her. Anyways, as the day has been characterized by delays, your ship is in fact ready to sail finally. And I will activate the map because I have one. And there we have it. The Reaver's Daughter. I've segmented it so that you have the whole hull, and I built a little cabin in the middle, if you will, a hut. And we have the three adventurers, if you will, on deck before the mast, because that's where they belong, right? And so you sail off for Marjura. And seeing as haste is needed, Praanz, I'm guessing that you don't want to make any stops.
No.
Here is a question. I'm going to switch to the map of Trakoria, in fact. So I'm going to ask you, what kind of route? You can make requests. It's going to be up to Malakai, of course, to make the final determination. He's the captain. I'm going to show you the trade routes. You are now in Siola, which is down here.
I can't see the map.
Oh, you can't see the map?
No, my screen is gray.
Your screen is gray. I'll have to fix it.
It's loaded.
There we go.
Give
now
it a
I'm in there.
Oh, excellent, excellent. I'm very happy.
Sorry, it takes me a minute.
Yeah.
I got this one held down. Where are we going? Okay.
Why is that not working? There we go. Okay, so that was an interesting red stroke. So Siola, and you're going north. The final destination is up 6 weeks northwest. Thing is, here is a main trade route. The typical convoy that left about a week and a half ago will go up to Vumbra, resupply, go up to Isakra, collect some more ships at Isakra, and then up north, like so. If you want to avoid traffic and sort of people seeing you and your ship, if you will, there are alternatives to that. Those waters that I have marked now are very well traveled. It's a common trade route. So you may run into people who you don't want to run into, or so on and so forth. One alternative would be to go along the east coast and then just straight north.
Can we just straight shot through between those two small islands and go straight line?
We don't want to get near Stegos.
This
If we
is true.
go anywhere, we want to thread the needle here farther north.
Okay.
Which is a well-trafficked area, I should say.
I trust you. Just keep us quiet.
Very well. So, Malakai, what course are you going to set? You're going to thread the needle between Mixa and Transpira?
You said that's fairly... Is that entire line fairly heavily traveled?
It's heavily
or
traveled.
just that area?
No, that specific area is heavily traveled. It's for the same reason that you suggested it. People want to stay away from Stegos, right? The cursed island. So,
All right.
I
What I would like to do...
there is a trade route going. I'm going to show you, like, so... There is some trade from Hoxo, like so. Trade route like so, and down there. So, okay, that way. Yeah, that could work. That could definitely work.
Will that keep us far enough away from Stegos?
It will. It will, indeed.
Excellent.
I would very specifically try to arrange it that we go past the southern tip of Mixa at night.
That's also a good idea, actually. Because that even further lessens the chance of you being seen by people you don't want to see you. I'm gonna put your caravel here. There we go. On the map. This should not be a gridded map. Gridless. There we go. Okay.
How do I erase?
I can do that for you. Do you want to erase
Yep.
the green line there?
Yep.
So, like that. Okay. So, the journey starts then. Cast off. Anchors away. No. Raise the anchor. Not anchors away. That's the other one. And you leave Paratorna for the open sea. Why don't we get ourselves... well, this is not a hard thing to do, to be honest, sailing these waters. You've been here so many times. I'm not even going to require you a roll unless you want to do something drastic like racing the ship faster than anyone could think of, or such like.
If I do an effective roll here, would I arrive before our erstwhile adversaries?
There might be reasons for me to say no to that, but you could catch up to them considerably. They must have at least a week's head start, but they are also a convoy, which means, and you know about the convoy, it carries carracks for both cargo and defense. They will be slower than your ship. Just sailing normally, which means that you should be able to at least half the
lead.
You should be able to catch up at least half the days that they're ahead of you. So if they're ahead of you by, say, 10 days, you shouldn't get to Marjura's more than 5 days behind them. Maybe you could even make it there 3 days behind them if you're really lucky.
Jessica, just so I know we're working on the same page. We have a class 4 infection aboard the ship.
Yep.
Yes.
We want people off the ship. We got
Yes.
sketchy people on the ship.
Yes.
We got somebody who I'm relatively certain is a horror movie villain on the ship.
Yes.
And I'm not playing them. And time is money. So I'm assuming we would like for me to roll, see if I can eke some extra speed out.
Not only that, but I have to find some weapon smugglers when we get there.
Mm-hmm. Are you telling him this? Is this a conference in the skipper's cabin?
I would share that with Malakai. I believe that Praanz would trust him enough and would have worked with him enough at this point that
Fair enough.
this information could be shared.
I should introduce the tokens for the other NPCs. I'll put them on Malakai's
Back to the Reaper's daughter.
Reaper's daughter. How about that? So, you have, of course, met by now Mogolan the Nun. She will be walking back and forth between this hut with the grade 4 infection and the rest of the ship. Always quiet, always diminutive. Like, she's spindly thin, very quiet, very alert.
She looks like
to
your
what-
dancer.
Hmm?
She looks like the dancer. The lady that's not a lady.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, the lady that's not a lady is up on the foredeck there, forecastle, if you will. And she will bring food and even.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Because I may have misunderstood something that was said earlier. When we are using the phrasing of lady, when it is in consideration of that character,
Mhm.
are we speaking about a position or are we speaking about a gender?
And that's a position.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was gonna say I take
Just
it
want
as
to
a
make
position.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if it was somebody in a really poor disguise or something, and I just didn't pick up on it.
No, it's a person who's dressing above, or trying to dress above her station without understanding the station.
She will very much draw ire from Praanz.
I'm sure. I mean, Perez, as a person who is used to walking in the court, not necessarily because Praanz is noble born, but because as of your office,
I work amongst it.
Exactly. So you can tell these are, as far as you can. I mean, you can roll a water roll to check out what they are up to, if you like. And water for you, of course, is. Hold on a second. Is 2. So that would be 2 dice.
Okay.
2d6. You actually are a noble, but of low rank, I should say.
2d6.
Yep. But you succeed at a 4 plus, right? So it's not like in Forbidden Lands where you only succeed on a 6. Ah, yes, 2 6s. 2 4s. So you don't have a crit here, but...
I know enough to know that she's not what she's pretending to be.
She's not even pretending to be a noble. She's pretending to be fancily dressed. It's like a sleazy car salesman.
Okay.
You know, who dresses up to sell cars without having an actually tailored suit, if you will.
Okay.
Back to an earlier conversation.
Yep.
You expressed to Malakai being able to get hands on weapons. This is kind of showing that you maybe don't have a network where we're going. Are you telling me you've got no boots on the ground already on the island? You have...
Oh no, there are boots on the ground.
Do you have a network?
I have a Zoom message for you there. Zoom chat. There we go.
I have a small one, not as big as I'd like.
Let me reach out to my network. I may be able to procure arms for you. It's only a slight upgrade above cost.
It's not the arms I need. It's people smuggling them.
I could probably find you information about that, because clearly they're coming in by boat.
There's, to your knowledge, Malakai, there's only one way they could come in, and that's the convoy. That's how you cross the ocean to get there.
So we're trying to catch the same people, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to drive fast, just strictly out of fucking pride. I want to get there before them.
The other stranger on the ship, I mean, sooner or later you're gonna see his face because the wind grabs his hood. Praanz, while you yourself are not really as an advanced student of the Banzikan, the martial arts of these islands, you know of them very well because of your swords mastery and your competitions, your competitive fighting. And this man is exuding all of those ideals in his movements. It's like seeing, recognizing a kung fu master as they're walking around, if you will. He knows his way around that sword. And just the way his demeanor, his relaxation of the body, which is as strong as the wrestler's body, that level of confidence that those students have, he knows his way around this.
Is he just a swordsman, or do I recognize him as something more?
Well, the face is interesting because half of it is melted. It looks like that his head at some point was basically shoved in a furnace. Would you have heard of this person?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Do I know any assassins of that description? What would that be a role?
No. but you might have heard of him, indeed.
With my background in Vemsica,
Yep.
I know who he is.
I think so by now, yes. You can probably guess.
You know you got an assassin on your ship, right?
He's less an assassin and more the swordsman.
Why do I know that name? I know that name.
You will...
Not the name, more of a title. His name's Arn.
Arn, now you realize. You've heard of this man. Arn Dunkelbrink. He's supposed to be the king of Lasimos. But he never claimed the throne because he decided to go off gallivanting trying to kill a dragon.
That explains the face.
Yep.
He is supposed to be able to do the golden cut and sheath his sword before the victim of the golden cut has even realized that they have been cut. They will realize it only when they try to walk away and find themselves split in two.
So he's better than what I am, is what you're saying.
That's the legend.
Is he floating around on the foredeck?
He's gonna be in charge of discipline, if you will, and he takes that job seriously. Any new deckhands, including the 3 adventurers, he's watching them and he is making sure that they don't do anything silly.
Just so you know, he could kick my ass, and I don't say that lightly.
I spent a brief amount of time in a Vemsica monastery to help temper some of my more feral urges. I've read books about and penned by that man. Yes, shockingly enough, from the Cannibal Islands, can read.
We all appreciate that. No, although not surprising, I feel like Praanz doesn't work with stupid people when she can avoid it.
That
Mikhail,
seems reasonable.
we were talking about me making some type of piloting role.
Yes, indeed.
Earlier.
If you want to do some navigation, let's get back to the map. If you want to do some navigation, we can try and see what happens.
More so, I need you to tell me what you would like for me to roll.
I would like for you to roll, according to the book, these rules do not exist as PDFs, unfortunately, which is...
You're fine, brother.
It's because they were published in a while back. It breaks my heart that they are, in fact, not available for purchase anymore. I'm sure there are good business reasons for that, but it's...
Are you
it's
sure?
lovely.
A friend of mine just got a copy in Denmark for Christmas.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool. Now, you can't even find it on their website anymore. So, you are sailing. You can roll. You're a navigator. Or are you? What is your expertise?
I've got points of skipper.
You got and Farsail Port. So you do not have the navigator expertise, so that's going to increase your difficulty by 1 step. Now, you do have charts for these areas, so you have an extra die for having good charts, because obviously you would have. And navigation is a deed roll that is covered in an earlier stage of the book. There we go. You are not... Okay, you can roll wind if you like, and add the fate die for skipper, plus the extra base die for your charts. So that will give us a total of...
4.
Indeed. And that means that you're spending a fate die, so it goes to the chalice. Now there is another die in the chalice. I have spent 1, you've spent 1. That is... I have 5 left. There's now 8 dice in the chalice. There we go. That is a success. 2 successes, in fact, which is exactly what we need to have some speed. There is no 6 there, which means that it's success at cost. What is the cost, though? You can decide. Are we seeing the ship here take a little bit of damage somewhere, or what else? Potential costs at navigation. Let's see now. Where did I have that?
We've got 6 weeks
There we
worth of supplies.
Yes, you do. So
We are
potential
cutting
costs.
some time off. So I'm saying we have either through a sharp turn, a rogue wave,
Yep.
couple of the crates break. We're going faster. We'll need less food. There may be some rationing at the end of the voyage.
That makes sense. Some examples here, just for everybody's reference of costs. Losing some of the provisions, that's what we were talking about. Fighting against bad weather, everybody gets a point of exhaustion. Maybe the ship is, in fact, grounded. That's not going to happen out at sea like this. Maybe the sails are break, or maybe you experience pirates or some kind of sea monster during the voyage. I'm going to go with what you said there with the provisions. There's going to be people are going to be tired after this voyage for sure. You are going to make speed across the waters. You will notice one thing about your charts, since we're talking about charts. Praanz, before you left Tresilva, of course you brought as many charts of the ocean as you could possibly find in the Tresilvan Academy.
Because I have backup plans upon backup plans.
Yeah, pretty much. It's one interesting thing here, though. One of your charts is clearly wrong. It shows a map of Marjura, but it shows everything in the wrong place. It's like someone drew a map of Marjura and then pointed the compass 45 degrees in the wrong direction. So, for instance, if we go to a map of the island. Do I have a map of the island here? I might not have uploaded the map of the island yet. That's okay. I have the Northern Ocean that we can show. So, there we go. You have Marjura up here. Arnhem is on the west coast. Klostanova is a small village on the east coast. You know this because it also has an academy for Bouncy Khan. It's one of the few. There are only 2 in the entire empire, such academies. And it's on the east coast, but your map is showing it on the south coast. So it's like someone just kind of drew the compass 45 degrees wrong.
So I will take that to Malakai and be like, did I purchase the wrong map or something? Like, this looks broken.
Malakai,
I'm going to assume you understand these things better than I do.
Malakai will pull out his maps, find the one particularly of Marjura, and just by sight lining, I'm assuming he's intelligent enough he'd be able to see that it's just been kind of J.R.R. Martin'd as far as the map goes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that you have charts of Marjura as such, because you never go there. It's so far away. But according to what you've heard of it, again, you know someone in every port, right? Maybe you have gone there a long time ago, but it's not going to be. It could have been 5 years ago. It's not on your usual route. It's just not where people typically go. So yes, by sight you'll be able to look at the map and go, yeah, no, that's wrong. Klostanova is in the east, not in the south. What are you doing, map maker? Everything else is correct. Like in terms of the distances between Arnhem and Klostanova, they're correct. It's just someone put the compass 45 degrees off.
If I had to give
Why
a
is it
knee-jerk reaction, faulty compass.
Yeah, probably. That makes sense.
Too close to another lodestone or something.
But you can still use the charts, knowing that it's off 45 degrees. You can just do the calculations in your head.
Would you like me to make a notation as to the actual compass position that this is drawn from?
No, I think I can manage that.
You can hand the map back and go back to plotting on his maps and moving little wooden ships around.
She seems miffed that she's gotten a map that's broken.
I can understand that.
So she will go check on her passengers?
Yeah, well, passengers, the less you check on them, the better for you. But you can talk to the nun.
Yeah, or more
she's
likely
harmless.
talk to the nun.
Yeah, she's harmless enough. So far.
You keep saying that, but does not make us believe it.
No, it really doesn't.
Yeah, she will, every once in a while she comes out, and every once in a while she just sits and watches the waters go by as you ride. So
how did you get stuck with this position?
Nobody else wanted to, she says.
And what possessed you to take it on?
Somebody has to, I suppose.
And there was no benefit to you at all? No punishment? No,
I just tried to help.
Yeah, nobody's that Mother Teresa, darling. Darling, you must be taking this post for a reason.
Well, I mean, the fates smile. I'm going north, which is where my journey is taking me, but otherwise I am an observer, and since no one else wanted to be close to these poor children, I took it upon me to be so. I'm not sure why everybody reacts like this.
Because very, very, very few people do something for nothing. Especially something like this.
I have holy vows, and I will cleave to them. You can roll a water roll to see if you can glean some information from this interesting person.
My water was 2, you said?
Yes, that's correct. Her water would be... what is it? Darn it, I didn't put it down there. Or did I put it down there?
Hopefully not as good as mine.
Now it just disappeared. Where did the sheet go? Why did it just disappear? Stop it. Give me the right sheet, please. Nope, it doesn't want to... Okay. I'm sure it's going to work out sooner or later. Okay. It's going to be a 3d6.
All ones.
And for some reason, nothing is happening here. Ugh, this is annoying. I might have to reload my... Am I on the right window here? There we go. Am I on the right window? Yes, I am. And it's still not doing the thing. Why isn't it doing the thing? It's not rolling for some reason.
You're not in there.
Am I not in there?
When I see Foundry, I only see the Observer. I don't see you.
You know what? I must have been disconnected. That's interesting. Okay, I will close down Foundry, which means that we'll all have to log back in again, and then I will log back in again. That's really annoying. Okay, terribly sorry about that. Technical
That's okay.
issues. We will have them sorted out in half a second.
I feel like it wouldn't be one of our game without some technical issues, Mikhail.
Indeed.
It's now asking me for an admin password?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, that's what's happening. Okay. Wait. Is that as it should be? Yes, that is. Yep, that's the right window. And I have that one there, and that's all good. Let's see now. Can I roll a die now? Yes, I can roll some dice. There we go. Awesome.
I can't get in.
No, but I will send you the link to get in.
Okay.
At least now I know it works. There we go. And I will have to open up the Foundry window again. Terribly sorry about this, but it's
No worries.
remedied in a jiffy. Like so. There we go. We're back. We can see things. We can hear things.
Are we in the right windows?
We are indeed. Okay, cool. That helps. Yep, so I rolled. It's a even Steven at this stage, so that basically means that the initiator wins, which is you. To you, it seems like this person is being earnest. She says she has monastic vows. She says that she is on some kind of holy mission. You've met monks and religious people before. They have...
Yeah, and I'm sure only half of them are as good as they say they are.
Maybe this is her way of climbing in the hierarchy of her monastic order. Maybe she gets special points, and maybe she gets a promotion if she does this.
So I will look her in the eye and just, in that threatening way that I do, just make sure you stay honest with me, because without me, you will not survive on this ship, Duke or no Duke.
Of course, she says, and smiles.
And at that, I'll just get up and simply walk away.
Mm. Yeah, no, she seems... I think passive is a good word for her. She never intrudes on anyone else and on their conversations. She never...
Which I think is putting Praanz off more than if she were aggressive or go-getting.
She doesn't seem to be, like... calm... None, brings food, brings out the excrement of the people inside without qualms or trouble, keeps the doors closed in there, etc., etc. That she just kind of is. And after, a couple of weeks of sailing, it'll be like, yeah, I don't notice her anymore because she's just walking around and doing her thing.
I do go back to Malakai's cabin, though, and I will ask for any books on biology or history, or basically I'm trying to figure out what she is and why she seems immune to them.
Yeah, that's the weird part. Unfortunately, Malakai's library is not going to be well supplied in terms of monastic orders. That might be something for you to study at Isakra one day. They have, like, the biggest library in the Empire. But you don't really have time to stop by there this time.
Yeah.
Passing by Mixa. Now, Mixa is an interesting place. It has more nobles per capita than just about any other island around here, much because it's a bunch of Transmiran nobles who ended up there after they tried to pick a fight with the ruler of Transmira like a century ago or something like that. But it's a fishing village, fishing island. And passing by at night, you're not going to see much. There isn't a whole lot of traffic around there at that point. Maybe some traders going back and forth. It's easy enough to get through. What is interesting maybe is for you as you turn north and start headed further north is the music from the Transmiran mountains. You can hear the clanging of hammers against mountainsides. They're so full of iron ore, these mountains, that they can make music by just banging on the mountainsides. They call it metal music. It sort of carries out over the ocean a faint echo of the Transmiran lust for that kind of noise. I'm not sure others agree that much to the type of music that they like. But without too much trouble and too much ado, you will pass by Transmira as well and get to the Northern Ocean, heading towards Marjura itself, finally. Leaving Trakoria proper behind you, if you will. Let's see, where's that ship? No, not that. Okay. That's annoying. I wanted to have the caravel on this page as well, but for some reason it's not there, so I'll have to upload it. Takes a half a moment. All the little moments. Where'd it go? Well, there it was. I had it there. There we go. There it is. A ship, a boat. It's a boat. So, north, you are going straight. Yeah, you had a good navigation roll there. You've made up some time by the time you leave the Empire itself. You should have taken maybe... how long does it usually take to travel that distance, that particular distance? Let me look it up real fast. Let's see now. Where did that go? That went there and... there it is, and there it is. I have some PDFs that have to do with this, like the old source book for the Empire. That is a thing. There we go. It usually takes about 5 days to cross from Siola up to Isakra in the northern part of Trismira. And I'm going to say that with that roll, you did it in 3. Good navigation, finding the winds at the right angle. You've been lucky so far with the winds. They're not coming from the wrong direction, because being a sailor, you don't have power over the winds. And if they come from the right direction, you have to... what do you call that? Zigzagging? When you... If you want to travel north and the wind is from the north, you have to go kind of perpendicular to the wind, sideways, and then tack and go the other direction. I can't remember the nautical term in English right now. But that hasn't happened
I don't
yet.
know enough sailing to give it to you either.
Yeah, that hasn't happened to you yet. So far you've had winds coming either from your sides or from your stern, which is exactly what you want. Who knows if that luck will hold, though. Maybe you want to roll another navigation roll. You don't need to use a fate die for this necessarily. You never do need to use a fate die. But I feel like such a long voyage, 6 weeks, I would think that we need 3 rolls together. You know, 1 roll for 2 weeks. Makes sense?
I will not be using a fate dice this time, so I will be rolling 2d6, correct?
3, in fact, because there are charts that Praanz brought that helps you. Oh, no, that's 2, because... well, let's see now. You have... How much is your wind? You have... what is your wind rating? You have 2? Yeah, so 2 plus 1 for your navigator skill. No, 2 plus 1 for the charts, so 3 dice. Yes, correct. I'm confusing myself sometimes. Good.
2 successes.
I always bring extra plans.
Indeed. 2 successes. Very well. You will continue cleaving very close to what the ship can handle. The wind is not going to be quite as merciful to you this time as it was before. I'm going to say that by the end of the voyage, you will want to spend some time in Arham's port to make repairs. Some sails will be shredded by stormy winds.
I think we're getting ready to have a boss encounter.
Yeah, no, that was... I don't know why that happened. I did not press that button. Let's see now. That was... I was going to have this... Oh, it must have... Instead of... Oh, I know what happened. It was doing... Instead of doing a repeat play, it just went to the next track. Sorry about that. Anyway, I was saying, you're going north. you will be heading into a storm at one point, and that storm, I don't know how you feel about that, Praanz. Is your stomach well suited for the ocean or poorly suited for it?
Of course it is.
Of course it is what? Well suited for it? Yes.
Well suited.
I can tell you that apparently the fake lady Roba does not have a well-appointed stomach for this kind of weather. You probably never see her because she's down below in the hold. That's where the sailors sleep, right? Well, you have a cabin, Praanz. But it's kind of telling that when she's trying to work, whatever she's not going to be one of the people who goes up into the mast. Malakai and the rest of the crew wouldn't trust her to do that. Because you need someone who can actually hold on to the mast and not fall off it. But she will relieve herself of her stomach contents when she is on duty during this particular time. So yeah, that's not nice for her stomach at all.
Praanz will actually probably. I'm assuming it's stone. I would need to make sure my stomach's fine. I have stone of 2.
Yeah, that's kind of, it's average. You can decide yourself if you're good with
but she would be on deck to make sure that nothing happens to the cabin that her passengers are in. Because the last thing I want is that breaking open.
If you were on deck as the storm really begins to hit, you actually see Kakiba and Callisto tying Malakai's hands to the wheel.
Yeah. And I feel like this is, again, we've probably traveled together enough that this is something I've seen you do before.
I do have a storm at sea track. There we go. How about that? Drama at sea. As the sailors fight the elements, if you will. And Malakai is tied to the wheel, fighting the heavy ocean. It's a late storm, this one. The season is heading away from this kind of weather, but it's also not entirely surprising that you hit one.
Yeah.
The good news is, so far...
The entire time, Malakai seems completely nonplussed.
I believe Praanz probably would too. And even if she was bothered or concerned, she wouldn't show it. She's just constant resting bitch face.
that seems very appropriate, yes. Arn, of course, is as stoic as always, and if you need relief from holding the wheels, he is absolutely fine with being lashed to the wheel as well.
That's a Malakai pride thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to give up the wheel in a storm.
That seems reasonable.
That's exactly why Praanz is on the deck of the ship in the middle of a storm, making sure that these rejoicers stay where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, you can sometimes hear them laughing hysterically from inside. They seem to enjoy this ride a lot. You might want to, put some cotton wads in your ears to not hear too much of their babbling.
As a counter to the babbling coming up during this storm, you would hear Malakai in a strong voice start bellowing out sea shanties that are picked up by the rest of the crew.
Yep, the rest of the crew is singing wildly into the storm in defiance of what the gods are throwing at them. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. To the point that Praanz would also pick up the song just to protect herself from the rejoicers inside.
Ah, yes. That's a good idea. That could work. Since you do that so quickly, I'm not going to have you roll for developing rejoicerism this time.
Gotta protect my crew.
Yeah. No, you gotta. Absolutely. So you've spent at least 3, maybe 4 weeks at sea. Let's have the navigation roll, the last leg. This is,
I will be using a fate point this time.
Okay, very well. That'll be 4 days then altogether. And that's a crit! Ba-boom! That means succeed without any cost at all. And
We come shooting out of this storm like a bat out of hell.
like a bat out of hell indeed. That's exactly what we want to see, right?
Well, in all honesty, man, with our 2 egos on this boat, how could we not?
This is a good point.
With that last roll, how much more time was shaved?
You will shave a good deal of time. So you had a crit now. I said that you shaved at least 2 days. With that roll, you're going to be... I gave you before, if you were really lucky, that you would be behind maybe 2 or 3 days at most. You would have...
3 days.
Yeah, exactly. You might even be behind 2 days or so. It's hard to keep track exactly when you're at sea. But you will have almost completely obliterated the advantage that the others had over you. I just wanted to look at... No, not that one. There we go. Navigation... Skipper, that's what we said. Oh no, that's not where it is.
I have far sail ports, not navigation.
Yep, you're absolutely correct with that.
That was supposed to be direct message.
So, back to the navigation point. Yes. Yeah, no, you go absolutely without problems now. The Reaver's daughter is finding her groove. The wind has shifted according to how it should be for the season, which is easterly, a lot of easterly winds. It suits you just fine. And she is barreling through those waters fast, throwing up foam around the bow. As this goes on, curious, will... I mean, the rest of the crew here, with the adventurers, if you will, so the cargo mission and the wrestler and their manager, and any other new hands that you've brought on, they do their duty. They keep their heads down. They obey orders as fast as they can. Not always super competently. The 2 women in that particular group of adventurers are not necessarily sailors. But, they do what they can after what they are able to.
They can help out in the galley.
They can help out in the galley and bring food to people and, just be general helpers in all sorts of ways. You will hear from Kakeba that this adventurer Roba, he doesn't know what she is good at, to be honest. She's definitely not a crafter. Nimble fingers. Could probably work well with needle and thread. There's always a sail that needs fixing or other.
During this interaction with Kakeba, who else is in the immediate vicinity?
Praanz, if you want to be, you could be.
Probably. Honestly, you're the only person of high enough station I would bother talking to.
Yeah, exactly.
Other than the nun.
In an oddly affectionate gesture, you would see Malakai throw his arm around this absolute unit of a wolfkin. Back in my day, when we'd take long adventures, we would bring a special person on the ship. We gave them a special title. They were called the Cow. Do you know what they were there for, brother?
What
To
were
which
they there for?
Kakeba would ask, in case we got hungry on the voyage.
Kakiba will smile one of those notorious smiles that the wolfkin are used to.
If you have no use for her at the moment, you can always send her into my service.
Not a slaver. I don't tell people where to go. Slavers normally don't do well on this ship. To which point you would see Malakai point up towards the mast and the crossbar. And you would see these very odd, kind of disgusting looking leather pennants.
I don't particularly prefer slavers either. I'm just saying I can always use an assistant. Usually fairly well played.
I would actually talk to Arn about it first. He's been keeping a close eye on him. The man's a masterful tactician. He has an ability to read people. I'd put faith in whatever opinion he had.
We will go have a chat with him then.
I'll join you. And I would cut across the main deck and walk up beside Arn.
Yep. Yeah, he's standing there as always, you know. Usually he only just has to stare at someone to get them to do what they're supposed to be doing. He's not giving the orders as such. He's enforcing the orders. So when Kakiba or someone else, anyone, you know, lower ranked officer, doesn't matter, they're all above these new hands, right? They give them an order. If any of them don't do it properly, Arn will glare at them, and they will do it.
Upon arriving with my erstwhile compatriot, the first thing that Malakai does upon reaching Arn is kind of pass him over a bottle of whiskey that Malakai has been pulling off of.
Yeah, Arn doesn't touch it. He's like just...
Don't mean to offend, just trying to be friendly, like, and he'd take another long slug.
I will not touch that until my quest is done.
Hit us to a speedy end to your quest, and he'd take another shot.
Praanz, you will know something interesting about Marjura. You do know, in fact, as an interesting point of note, there is a dragon on the island.
Oh.
It is being kept passive by Trakorian, the Trakorian herd, the soldiers. There is supposed to be a scholar traveled there from one of the academies, you can't remember which, who is studying this beast, and apparently talking to it. You don't know, that's the rumor at court. The point is, the Empire has supplied the dragon with a good deal of sheep to keep it quiet and pacified so it doesn't burn down anything important that the Empire might need. And it's been there for a good many years after it took over a mine that's there, apparently. Speaking of dragons, that's not a strange thing to think about when you stand close to Arn Dunkelbrink, given his legend.
Wonder if he's going to question it or kill it.
Well, that's a good question. Speaking of which, on that bag on his belt, it contains something that moves. Is it the ship's cat? No, it can't be. The ship's cat is over there. Is it a rat? You don't know. It twists every once in a while. It just kind of moves a little bit.
Don't mind me asking, it's not too rude. What is moving in your bag?
That is my guide.
Guide?
It takes me to the end of my quest.
I see.
You can
Is
see
it
smoldering intensity in his eyes now.
an animal or an item?
It's a beast.
Interesting.
It will end now.
Good. I hope it ends well for you.
Yes.
My friend here, Malakai, says you're an excellent opinion of character.
He does me credit. I try to stay away from characters.
As do we all. I've come to ask you about our friend over there, and I'll gesture to the lady,
Yeah.
and whether or not she's steadfast and useful.
She's no sailor, I'll tell you that. But she obeys.
I am thinking of taking her into my employ as a type of secretary.
Your business is your own.
Do you think she would be useful and loyal?
Don't keep silver around her.
She's been thieving on my ship.
No, yeah, I mean, nothing has been reported stolen.
An eye for things that are shiny?
I've seen my share of adventures.
They all tend to have an eye for things that are shiny, don't they?
Lured by legends of gold, no doubt.
You did admirable work coming from that storm arm. You truly made yourself a blessing on board the Reaver's daughter.
He just kind of grunts his approval. Just do what needed to be done.
If you take the woman into your employ, are you taking the double act with them?
I don't have to. They'd prefer to stay here and work for you if they're of use.
The large one could be a service here. I could probably get the dancer work in a friend's establishment.
Yeah, I mean, the dancer, as she's working on scrubbing the deck at the moment, together with Roba, she's kind of slowing down her work and giving, particularly you, Malakai, the eye. One of those come-hither glances.
Malakai would gesture the three of them over.
They'll come.
My comrade here has a job opportunity for one of you. I may be able to find work for the other two. Do you care to hear the proposition out?
For sure, for sure.
Colonel?
You, and I point to Roba the lady.
Yeah.
I think you could be a useful secretary.
Why, thank you, Colonel. Thank you kindly. Yes.
If you're interested in the position.
Of course. I am good at reading and writing and such things. Not much of a sailor. You will notice, I mean, by now it's so many weeks at sea, her hands are finally gotten a bit calloused, but nothing like someone with a lifetime before the mast.
Lass, you don't need to tell us you're not a sailor. The fact you've thrown up more than I've seen you eat tells us that already.
That's true. There.
If you're interested in the position, I only need you, unfortunately not your compatriots, but my friend here may have other positions for them. If you're willing to separate.
Well, it's not a big ship. Deidre is kind of looking at both of you, both Praanz and the captain, what kind of services would you have in mind? She says and smiles ever so softly.
You're nuts. Particularly effective sailor. I have a friend that run a few establishments that employ dancers. I may be able to get you gainfully employed there.
Oh, but we will have a great show. Roba is now taking the lead. Once we get to our destination, we will have a great show at the nearest tavern. That's what we always do. Gistaki will be the strongest man on there in the village. Have you told them where you're even going?
No.
It's getting colder though, so they might be guessing by now.
Where do you think that the ship is headed, dear?
She kind of looks around. I don't know, but we have been at sea for an awful long time, haven't we?
We are headed to Marjura.
Blink, blink.
Where did you think we were going?
Well, first I thought simply Palamux. But we have been at sea for a long time. Then I thought maybe McGillery or somewhere the Copper Sea, but it's a bit cold to go there, isn't it?
I'll look at Malakai and be like, did they not tell you where they wanted to go?
If we were going to the Copper Sea, we'd be sailing in the opposite direction.
Well, it's not a problem, says Roba. I'm sure people in Marjura needs entertainment as well. They will never have seen such an excellent dancer as Deidre here. And Deidre kind of just takes a step or two, and they might be right. She is moving very gracefully. And Gistaki will definitely be the strongest man on the entire island! And he kind of just flexes his chest muscles a bit.
It's good to have such a high opinion of yourself and your employees.
That it is.
You might have noticed during these weeks that Gistaki is, in fact, very likely deeply in love with Deidre. He follows her around like a faithful dog, basically. He never touches her or anything untowards unless she wants him to, but, yeah, he's always there. If any of the sailors, which they don't, because both Malakai and Arn have a strong sense of discipline on the ship, but if any of them had any ideas of approaching Deidre in ways that she wouldn't want, there would be a very big fist meeting them before they ever got close.
I believe our ideas of employment were more permanent than just to the end of the boat ride.
Well, I mean, we will, when we arrive, we will of course be resuming our work as buskers. That's really what we do, says Roba. And but maybe there is an opportunity. Maybe we can help you out with different. How much does it pay, Roba? The glint of promise of gold and favors. We might be of service in some different ways, yes?
Possibly.
Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. We're always.
Do you know
open
who
to
I
this.
am, correct?
I've heard you be called a colonel a couple of times, and I do remember hearing about, and looks at your two swords. Aren't you Praanz da Kaelve, the Torondan swordsmaster?
Glad to see my reputation precedes me.
I mean, if I can add you to our little troop.
No!
Oh.
That's not what this is about.
I see.
I occasionally compete for fun and prestige. However, most of my work involves government contracts.
Well, I mean, I can work for the government as well. I'm a faithful subject of the Emperor, of course. Long live the Budak and the throne.
You may be useful.
Just listening to their accents, Gistaki sounds like a Palamoxi. Roba, definitely Paratornian, and I mean, Deidre, you know that she's cargo mission.
Yeah.
By her tattoos, if nothing else.
As we walk away, I look at Malakai. Where the hell did you find those three?
They came up to me at the same bar you found me at.
And you let them on the ship.
One
How
of them
drunk
was
were
cute.
you?
Very, and one of them was kind of cute.
Oh, Malakai.
And upon saying that, he would instantly start looking around for Callisto.
Oh, you are going to get yourself in trouble one of these days, my friend.
I'm a privateer. My entire life is designed to get me into trouble.
This is true. In all honesty, we were both designed to get into trouble. Or fix other people's trouble.
That's a true word.
How is the voyage coming?
The voyage is coming along nicely.
I imagine we're almost to shore now.
You're almost to shore. There is a night as you're proceeding when there is some commotion. You're woken up, Malakai, primarily, not Praanz, because Praanz is not a member of the crew, technically, not a member of the chain of command. Because apparently one of the boats, the rowboats, you have a couple, because it's a caravel, of course you have a couple of boats, has come loose. And when you come up on deck, it turns out that it's actually worse than that. Someone has knocked one of the night guards unconscious. And it is true that one of the boats is not there anymore. It's been put into sea.
I would rouse every living creature on this ship to see who is missing.
Everybody's roused really fast. Even Arn needs to sleep every once in a while. He's not superhuman, and he was not on guard this night.
Who do I get to kill?
We'll see.
My ship, if anyone is getting flayed and nailed to the mast, it'll be by my hand.
Yeah,
Fair.
Yeah, indeed.
Is the nun around?
The nun is around, absolutely.
Check the rejoicers.
She will do that. The rejoicers seem to be in the same spot as they've always been.
They're all there?
They are all there. However, there is one person missing. It's a young boy, basically. One of the new hands is gone. He must have been 15 or so. Out of your crew, I'm going to say that about a quarter of the hands are new hands, because there's always a bit of turnover in every port.
Yep.
And this was one of the new ones.
Do we still have visual on the longboat?
Bringing out your glass, you can, in fact, look over, and yes, you can see the longboat. It's south of you by now, because you're, of course, going north or northwest. And you can also see that there's a glow over that. And that's when you see the flames start springing up in that longboat.
Granted, I was planning on trying to hit the longboat with one of the scorpions, but looks like he's got his own fucking problems. And Malakai is just looking through the eyeglass and would actually pass it to Praanz.
I take a look to see what I can see, to see if the boy's setting this alight himself, or if this looks like he's been sabotaged, somebody's trying to kill him. Like, what can I see from here?
Not enough, because you're too far away from the boat as such, but I will give you... Let's see now. Why don't you roll wind plus an extra die for...
What is my wind? I can't see it.
It's a 1 plus an extra die for the looking glass.
Okay.
And also an extra die for the fires makes it easier to see in the dark.
Okay.
There we go. Oh, and a 6! That's lovely. Okay, that's weird. There must be... Did that... You can't see the boy. At all. In the silhouetted against the longbow. If the boy is there, he is lying down on the bottom of it. He's not rowing it or anything like that. In fact, the oars are not even deployed. They're kind of sticking out on the sides. And if there are flames, it's entirely possible that there may have been like a lantern with sylvolium in it that tipped over and the sylvolium started burning. Or sabotage of some kind.
If he's on that boat, he's likely already dead.
Yes, that is a solid conclusion, probably. Maybe someone was making it look like an accident? If he's on that boat?
We need to recover that boat. Your deckhand's already dead. And somebody killed him.
It could have been misadventure. What I would like to do, I would like to bring to full stop, dispatch another longboat to investigate the burning boat.
Indeed.
Hopefully to get it before it sinks. And
Yep.
I would like the 4 people that's hammocks were closest to him when we would set up in the evening in the hold for everybody to sleep. I'd like to have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I join in on those conversations, Malakai?
Perfectly fine.
Yeah, sitting in the other longboat in the ocean is not too hard, and of course it can mount a sail. They're big enough for that, a single sail. So you can see that right across the waves towards the other one. And they will be able to fix a cable, use their buckets to put out the fire in the other longboat and retrieve it. It's going to take a little while. Meanwhile, you are rounding up the suspects, as it were. I think that's how Praanz thinks about them, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. That same watch, if you will, you will notice that these people are mix of Paratornian and foreigners of some kind. Not cargo mission, though they're broad-shouldered. They have tattoos. Your inclination is... I think Malakai will maybe be able to nail them down in terms of heritage. You have far-sailed ports as one of your abilities. I would allow you to, in fact, roll 3 wind because you have that expertise to identify where they might be from. And remember, you guys, if you fail at a roll with an ability, you have your experiences that you can check off if it's relevant for the roll. And if you check off the experience, you get to re-roll any or all dice. So that's how experiences work. So I'll remind you of that possibility. I don't think we've needed to do it this time, but that's a thing you can do. That's a single success. At cost, if you will. What would the cost be in this case?
Rook gets a headache.
I accidentally dropped my whiskey.
One of the classic ways of doing costs in this game is to give you a point of either fear, exhaustion, doubt, or damage.
With being roused in the middle of the night and now doing interrogations, I could definitely see Malakai being exhausted.
Very well. So a point of exhaustion. And those are recovered by having a resting scene, basically.
Okay.
You can take as many point of damage to an attribute as you have in the attribute +1. So, fire, for instance, Malakai, you have 3. You would need 4 points of exhaustion to be broken by that. If you want to avoid being broken, you can choose, instead of taking a point of exhaustion or taking 2 points of exhaustion, you can pick between a temporary or a permanent consequence. And that's what represents kind of critical damage in this game. But it's voluntary on the part of the player. So I don't think that's going to apply now necessarily because it's not that big a crisis, but it's going to happen sooner or later, right? So let's say you're in a big sword fight with someone and you take like 2 points of damage to your stone. You don't want to take those 2 points of damage, so you say, I'm going to take a permanent consequence. Maybe I lose an eye. That can only be healed by magic. And then you don't take any damage at all and can keep fighting, but with that particular wound, right? So that's how that works. Anyway, so getting a point of exhaustion means that if you are involved in a conflict against an NPC, they can get that extra die because of that exhaustion. So Malakai is exhausted.
Discipline
helps.
Discipline.
Yes, I mean you have that. So thanks to your Vemsica, they cannot. But for other people who don't have that particular expertise, getting points of damage or doubt or fear gives extra dice to your opponents. Basically. So that's how that works. Anyway, yeah. So you're slightly exhausted as you're asking these people questions. They're standing at attention. Then it occurs to you as you're talking to them back and forth. These guys, Oregon. They must be from Oregon, judging by that. The difficulty they have turning their tongues around Western Yori, the language that you all speak. Oregon, that's an area in the north, as you can see. I'll show you on the map. There we go. Those 2 islands to the east of Marjura send out a lot of pirates to raid. So your feeling here, Rook, is basically that these might be agents of pirates who are wanting to... I mean, what better way of signaling to a bunch of pirates that here's a ship for them to plunder than launching a longboat and putting it on fire? In the dark.
How many of these people do I have?
3.
So I'm at the moment standing in the background, allowing Rook to do the interrogations because it's his ship.
Yep.
Just waiting for him to allow me to be the threatening presence that I am.
Yeah, Arn can help out with that too, because
Yeah.
Arn is good at that as well. He's just kind of standing there.
How many other Ori are on the ship? Just those 3?
Yeah, that would be them.
I'm assuming that I have gathered Kakiba and Arm and Callisto and the Marines.
Yep.
Summary executions all the way around.
The Marines will smile at this. They are quite pleased at being able to put their skills at good use.
Jessica, for point of reference, most of my Marines are also cannibals.
Cargo missions.
I figured
a lot of
as
them.
much.
There's a lot of cargo missions on this ship.
And Krazak.
Darn. I was hoping for a little bit of torture first.
Many of them have filed down their teeth to pointy ends, much in the cargo mission style. Some say that it's only for intimidation, but it does make for good biting wounds.
We should make sure they're only here to raid the ship and not for other purposes.
Are you versed in being able to augur a man's intents through reading his guts?
While he's screaming them to me, yes.
I'm gonna roll back a little bit, if you don't mind. We're gonna summarily execute 2 of them and use their blood-cotton buckets and their hacked-up bodies to chum the water. I want to bring in as many sharks as I can, especially if somebody's gonna try to hit my ship. The third, more unfortunate member will be escorted to a small room in the back of the ship where our dear friend, the Colonel, and Callisto can ask the man some very pointed questions.
So, as he takes him to the back room,
Yeah.
I follow, and at this point, she puts her hair up, takes her jacket off, takes her knives out. Now, we can do this one of 2 ways. We can do it the way that's going to be the most fun, or the way that's going to let you live a little longer. You can tell me everything you know now, or I can cut it out of you.
That's an intimidation roll if I've ever heard about it before. I'm gonna give you, so intimidation in this game works basically, so you don't have any influence abilities for this, Jess, but
I do have command. I don't know if that does anything for me.
command is strictly leading troops in battle.
Okay.
So basically, you can if you have a unit of soldiers and we have a field battle going on, you can use that ability.
Okay.
Can she get a little extra advantage having a psychotic bronze seas person standing there with foul teeth and
Yep.
skinning knives?
In fact,
While this is going on downstairs, I am getting the longboats put up back on the ship, and we are getting ready to beat ass.
Yep, indeed. So let's see now. Ba-ba-dum. Yeah, I'm going to give. So stone is a good way of doing intimidation because basically you're using your physical presence. And I'm going to add another full 3 dice to that because they are hopeless. They are prisoners, right? The intimidation factor that Malakai just has put them through, and in fact possible instruments of, horrifying implication that you might be holding
That's
in your
not
hands.
possible. They're definitely there.
Yes. So three extra dice for that, so for a total of 5 dice.
Okay.
That's a brilliant success! Every
goes the
single die a
dynamite.
success, and a 6.
So you hear some screaming and terrified whimpering and crying.
Yep. You've seen how they do it more than once in the headquarters in Kaelve. You're not one of the torturers yourself, of course.
But I've probably had to
You're
torture
more of a
1 or 2
hobbyist.
witnesses.
More of a hobbyist.
I'm not an expert, but I know my way around a knife.
You know your way around the knife. And they are, of course, absolutely at your mercy here. There's no help to be gotten anywhere in the middle of the ocean. Yeah, they start rambling. Yes, it turns out that they snuck onto the ship together with some other new hires in Siola to signal to Oregon pirates in the area to grab this ship. The moment they heard they were going to Marjura, they were very happy about that idea. Because they thought that there would be riches on the ship.
And that's the only reason you're here?
Yeah.
And you've no one else with you?
No.
And you're 100% sure about that?
Yeah.
Thank you for your cooperation. I slit his throat.
Arterial spray on the bulkhead walls.
I look at Malakai, his friend. I'm finished with them. You can do whatever you please. And I just simply walk out.
Callisto will begin to prepare the body. Upon re-reaching upstairs, you see Malakai like a man possessed, screaming orders, biting people's heads off. You see him backhand a couple people. He is getting everything ready to pull up stakes and be prepared to fight off a pirate incursion. You see the Marines doing some type of primitive dance, getting themselves worked up into a mouth-foaming battle frenzy.
It is only pirates. It's not a part of my business. However, if you need any other assistance, let me know.
If you want to cut down some people, you're more than welcome to.
Happy to do so.
Does that sound like? It does sound like pirating music.
Praanz pulls out her swords.
Yep. In the distance, of course, it's dark still, but slightly darker than the rest of the dark around, is that square sail of an Oregon longship that must have spotted the fire. Even though you doused it very fast, they are going to try to catch up with you. They are not close enough to do so just yet. We use the ship's fire to roll for a chase roll. And the ship's fire is... I think I gave it to you before. Did I give it to you before? I didn't.
It was 6 months ago in a text chain.
Not quite 6 months, I think. Caravel... I'm gonna give it a fire of... They're a bit miserly with the fire in the rulebook, to be honest, alleging that a sloop and a carrack has the same speed, which I do not agree with. I'm gonna give it a fire of 2. I'm gonna give them a fire of 3, to be honest, because it's a long ship. They have a much flatter bottom and can have higher speeds than you normally. But you might be a better captain than they are. You get to add your skipper to the roll if you want. You have
Fires for speed. And what are the other stats for the ship? Just so I have them in my notes.
Oh, that would be. Sorry, I put the book together. That would be as much as the Caravel Stone 5 and Armor 2. They will not have armor because it's a long ship, and they will have like a stone of 3, something like that. So it's a much weaker ship than yours. Should you hit it with, say, your ballistas and such like. Their plan is very simple: catch up, storm, board the ship, and storm it that way. But who knows if that's going to work? You have barrels of Sylvolium. You always pack Sylvolium if needed on a voyage like this, because there might be sea serpents, and it's a good idea to be able to throw Sylvolium barrels that are burning on sea serpents. They work on pirate ships too.
You said they were in a chase position.
Yes.
We need to compare fires.
Yes, indeed. So you roll your ship fire plus navigate plus your skipper. So if you want to spend a fate die on your skipper ability, you can definitely do that. So that will give you 4 dice altogether.
I will be doing that.
Indeed. And remember that you can re-roll any and all dice that are not a success with one of your experiences that might be applicable. Like, for instance, the third one, spent years captaining a pirate ship. That seems very applicable to this situation. So if you fail, or if any of your dice fail, you have a 6, which is a crit, 3 failures there. If you want to re-roll those 3 dice that failed, you can do that. By checking one of the experiences. Very well. Do it.
2 successes, 1 critical.
That is 2 successes, 1 critical. Indeed. I will roll their fire. That is 2 successes and 1 critical. I'm gonna give it to you. They're trying to catch you, but since I am a benevolent god, you do have some headway there. They didn't, because, so this is the rationale for why you win a tie for once when they are technically the ones who are chasing you, and should be winning. But in this case, you have an advantage because you discovered the longship out there burning before it could signal them more clearly. So they're further away than they would have liked to be to start the chase. And as such, you reacted faster than they would have liked to be able to catch up with you properly. The moment those sails properly fill and your ship starts heading, you can see that they are struggling to catch up, and they're just not going to be able to make it.
Again, with our 2 egos on board, how could anybody expect anything less?
Indeed.
They are tacking behind me. Can I send them a little gift at range?
A little gift of what?
At range.
Yes, you can do that. I'll allow it. They are
Would you like the
far
body
away.
of one of their pirates?
They're very far
I've been doing this for a long time.
Yep.
Just watch me. Watch me shine.
I do love so to watch.
They're very far away, but they're expecting a merchant vessel, not a fully armed pirate ship, and I'm sure you can make a appropriate signal to deter them, let's just say.
You would hear Malakai bellow. Gunners! Barrel of the hot stuff!
Aye! They are running
would you
up
like-
to the catapult with a barrel of the hot stuff.
That would be a stone roll, correct?
Let's see now. Firing a catapult like so would be. I think it's a fire roll by the crew who are firing. Yes, because it counts as marksmanship. And you are very good at fire here, sir. So 3 dice for that. You do not have marksmanship as such. So yeah, I give you roll the 3 dice straight up, and we'll see how that goes. Ooh, that went very well. A 5 and a 6. The barrel shoots up into the air, and describe what happens.
You see the small fuse burning on this inky blot burning through the sky. It arcs and perfectly lands in Pirate Longboat about center mass. For a second, it seems nothing happens until you see rolling flames shooting up the mast, taking the sail, and blossoming out along the floor of the boat.
I love that. So basically what happens is, even as I'm going to retcon a little bit of my description there in the light of your lovely narration there. So maybe they are in fact finding a way to tack with the wind and gain on you. But the moment they're not they don't have double your speed or anything like that. The gains they're making are very small, just enough to make you notice that they are gaining a bit. It's not that like they will be able to crash into your side and then just storm over your railings. It's just enough for you to be able to do this aiming very carefully and then launch the projectile at just the right time as you described. And then, because they don't have that much higher speed than you do, when that flame goes off on their ship, there is screaming, there is anguish, there is gnashing of teeth over there. The sail they had is just gone. And they will not be catching your ship today. You will not become their meal. You will not become their prey. And they now know what they were facing. There, you can see a few pirates jumping over the side, burning in the Salvonium, as they must have been caught in the blast. They thought they would be hunting a merchant vessel that was lost from the convoy, and instead they met experienced warriors of the sea, proving themselves that privateers are probably superior soldiers to the Admiralty. Gain, how about 3 fate dice there for your pirating ways?
Franz will pat Malakai on the back. I do love a good fireworks.
I do what I can.
Come, let's go have a drink.
Indeed.
Before turning to return to his cabin and his very well-stocked liquor cabinet. We're all up! Pull anchor, we're finishing the voyage now.
Yep. And so your ship continues north towards the island. It's getting colder and colder every day. This is spring, yes, but up here, it's like a Trakorian winter still. Snowflakes in the air, blooms of your breath in front of you, clouds. Some mornings you have to kind of chop through the ice on the buckets to get to the water underneath as they freeze. But in the morning, it's about... Well, by your calculation, you should be about 2 days behind the convoy by now. You've caught up that much. And it's... No, I'm going to say it's in the late evening when you can see a lighthouse fire. Which is right in the direction of where Marjura should be. You've seen seagulls for a while now. You know you're close to the coast.
Would like to start. Have they cleared all the backup from the convoy, or are they just being sent to specific docks where we can jump ahead and line on a couple of them?
Hard to tell. I mean, you've been at sea for 6 weeks. As you said, the rations, you're at like 3/4 rations. People are tired. You
We
don't
should have
know
went
if
back
you're on
and
the...
picked up those pirates.
You could be on the west side or the east side or the south side of the island. You're not entirely sure.
You also mentioned the convoy doesn't typically hit this high up.
This is the convoy we were chasing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
So the convoy goes up here. This is exactly the where it's supposed to be going, yes. It might be signaling for stragglers, yeah. That's a possibility.
We will take our earliest chance to put into dock.
Mm-hmm.
All a big bowl pot to warm water would be brought up so all the guys and girls on the crew can wash their ass before going into city.
Before you get there, so you're getting closer and closer to the coast. It's a rocky shoreline, fjords, deep bays, mountainous areas around, also quite misty at this time of day, and it's because your sailors are so good and skilled that you notice that you're taking measures. You're not sure about the channel around here because you're not entirely sure of what part of Marjura you're on. You can see the fire up ahead in the mists, and you have a fellow checking the depth, and it's getting awfully shallow, awfully fast. Through quick and prompt action on your part, Malakai, you can avoid getting beached. There is some kind of big hulking shadow up on that beach, and there's a fire there, but that doesn't look like a lighthouse.
What the hell is that?
Behind you hear the whispers of Arn, the beast, and he kind of walks up towards the railing. Let me ashore.
Be my guest?
I would dispatch a small crew of Marines into a longboat, and we're gonna get this man to shore.
Yeah, you are getting the longboat in the water. Arn gets in the longboat. The crew of Marines goes as well.
As far as the Reaver's Daughter itself,
yep.
We will be laying anchor until we have better visibility to make our way into port.
Indeed. And Praanz, are you staying with the Reaver's Daughter for now, maybe?
Yeah, I'll stay with the boat, swords at the ready.
Very well. They disappear into the mist. You can see their silhouettes. You can see Arn jump off the boat screaming, "I'm coming for you, beast!" And then there's some confusion, some shouts, voices in the dark, and everything seemed to simmer out. There's no fight, there's no fires. If the beast is a dragon, there's definitely no dragon breath around here. And after a few minutes of confusion over there, you hear your Marines shouting, "It's a beached whale!"
Jesus Christ.
Malakai would start cackling like a madman. Bring him back!
Praanz sheathes her swords.
In this mayhem and confusion, the monk, in fact, the nun, I should say, comes up to you, Malakai and Praanz. Yes, my wards, I suppose, say that they want to get off here. Apparently their mother is somewhere up there. She points north.
They will wait until I've drawn a carriage.
But just send them to shore with Death Wilbur.
What?
I got a guy that can't hear.
No, that works.
Why didn't you say this sooner?
You didn't fucking ask.
I told you I was bringing on madness spread by sound. It seems like something you would share.
We try not to point out Wilbur's disability.
In this
Except
case,
when
it's
it's
not
useful.
a disability, it's useful.
Wilbur.
If you would like them to stay on the boat, I'm just getting paid to ferry them. If you want me to grab Wilbur, send them off on a longboat. It looks like we got one coming back with our beloved Dragon Slayer.
I am simply trying not to scare the rest of the population.
Yeah, the longboat is coming back. You will notice that your fabled Dragon Slayer is in fact not in the longboat. Kakuba is standing there. He wouldn't come. Went off. Walked.
We got him here, that's all we were asked to do. He paid in the virtue of his work. I wish him well in his days of slaying dragons.
Let me get them safely to wherever they need to be. Did my orders say where I was supposed to take them?
No, just get them as far away from the Empire as possible. If you leave them on a beach here, you fulfilled your orders.
I think we are as far away from humanly possible as the Empire. About 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah, we were. I could have dumped them fucking overboard. Nobody would have given a shit except maybe the nun.
We should have sent them to the fucking pirates.
Yeah, I guess the nun will ferry her wards on the longboat to shore.
You may take them wherever they need to go.
Oh, I just take them to shore and then I will go on my own way.
I wish you luck.
Thank you. And
Are you going to be in the boat when Wilbur comes back?
I will.
maybe?
I was asking the nun.
I can go with you to Arham. That seems like an exciting place. I've never been.
Alright, this is perfectly acceptable.
It turns out the fire, as rumors go back and forth, there's a bunch of villagers out here who are not Arhamites. You're apparently far from Arham still. But the villagers here have caught a whale, and they are basically processing the whale. The bonfire is there not to lure ships to their death, but to process the whale fat in really big vats, cauldrons. The villagers are very confused. What, a ship now? The convoy just went by a few days ago. We thought the convoy was done. We didn't think... I'm so sorry. There's apologies coming from confused villagers who thought that, you know, it was safe to light fires in the evening.
Do we need meat? We could have them make reprimands and whale meat.
If we're going to be taking anything from that whale carcass, I'd suggest we try to get our hands on the balun.
I'm sorry, the what?
The baleen. They use it to make perfumes and cosmetics and soaps. Shit's worth more than fucking gold.
Excellent.
If I didn't have a thing for eating people, I would have been a whaler.
Lovely. I will go down and try to persuade them to give us this.
Yeah, that should work. I'm not...
I think Akiba and a couple of the Marines is heavies.
Yeah, they expropriate some compensation for this. They will be grumpy about it, but they will not be grumpy enough to, you know, not let you take the stuff. Someone is probably muttering something about Trakorians just taking things.
Call me what you want to call me. I don't give a shit.
But, yeah, you will be able to ascertain that you are now on the southeast side of Marjura. If you just follow the coast due west, you will come upon Arham probably in the morning. It's not that far. And so, you have arrived to Marjura, you're almost at Arham, and that could be an excellent place to pause this, and in 2 weeks pick things up when Malakai and crew, including the colonel, arrive in the actual town of Arham to start their mayhem. Is that a thing? Arham? Mayhem? Mayhem in Arham? I don't know. Probably will be.
Listen, I got you whale perfume. Don't say I never did anything for you.
What the fuck am I gonna do with this fucking soundproof hut?
You can
Torture prisoners in it?
now?
That's what I got my bedroom for.
Whatever floats your boat, darling. No pun intended.
Have you met the mother of my second and my fourth kid?
I believe so, yes. That's the one that helped me torture the Ogden, isn't it?
Aye.
She's a lovely lady.
And at about this time, you would see her scrambling up rigging, nailing something to the mast.
We get along quite well.
Are we giving thanks to Anxalis this way for succeeding to cross the ocean?
I would also, you would see, as we're having this conversation, Malakai would actually throw a handful of gold into the sea, then with hunger, slash his hand open and bleed into it.
Giving thanks to Anxalis for seeing you safely across through a storm, past pirates. But here you are now in by Marjura. Excellent. All right.
Hold on, I got one ending question.
Yes.
Malakai will look at Praxis. What'd you name your blades?
My blades?
Hey,
Pain and anguish.
I named mine after only two things that truly matter in life. Hunger and thirst.
I named mine after the only two things I like to hear coming up the other ends of it.
You did say pair of anguish, right?
Pain.
Pain and
Oh!
anguish.
Excellent. Well,
There's going to
thank
be
you
a
guys.
couple people that know about medieval torture that'll get that joke.
Thank you very much, you guys. I will see you in 2 weeks as we continue, and then we'll get the other two agents here as well. I'm sure they've been up to no good in Arham a little bit already, but who knows? Then we'll see things really plots thickening or sickening, and there will be mayhem in Arham. That's what I'm guessing.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thanks for the game.
Good evening. Thank you for the game. Oh, it's going to be so fun. The party boat just showed up.
Yes, yes, it did.
Thank you, everyone, for watching, and we will see you next time.
Night.